All right, great.
We're rolling.
All right, off we go. Welcome back and welcome to the new environment of the Decidr studio. No expense was spared. Let's get tucked in, shall we? It's been a while since you and I sat down. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was your article regarding AI roadmaps rather than AI courses. An article that you can find on the Decidr website, by the way. The article draws a solid line in the sand with regards to capability and curiosity.
Yep.
Now, my question is, what's the common mistake that you're seeing senior leaders making with regards to bridging that gap?
Thanks for having me back. I think the point I was trying to make was we don't see leaders bridging the gap.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We see a lot of leaders doing AI courses and a lot of talk of AI courses, and there is a lot of AI courses, and they're useful, and there's a need for that, and it's probably where I would suggest people start. The point I was trying to make is we see a lot of leaders stopping at that point. And assuming and thinking that, okay, I've done an AI course, I now understand which tool's better for this and which tool's better for this, and maybe I can suggest that tool to my CMO, and maybe I can suggest this tool. That's the problem I see, is where there isn't a bridge, quite frankly, and there needs to be a bridge. So most leaders would stop at the AI course side of things and assume that that's helping the organization, when we know it's not. It's helping the individual, and passing that course on to somebody else helps that individual, and that person passing on, then you help the individual, and that's great, but it's very slow. It's not scalable. You need to be able to help the organization. So my point was, I don't see leaders bridging that gap, and I think they need to bridge that gap.
Do you think that's just a sign of where we're at the moment? Is there a reason that this is happening? Why it feels so fragmented? Do you think people are kind of caught between this necessity of I know that that's the way the world is going, and then also a certain sense of I don't want to get left behind, and it's all these different, if we think about the cake of reasons.
Yep.
Or do you think it's more pointed?
No, I think it is. I think it's the former. I think it's just the fact of where we're at with everything. It's still such a nascent topic, right? So everyone's in that. They're probably trying to get through or come out of the AI ignorance phase, as I call it, is that I don't really know all the tools available, don't know what me or my organization could do. So let me try and figure out. And human nature's first port of call is, let me educate myself. Let me educate myself on what's available and what can be done. But again, back to my original point, that's helping the individual or individuals. It's not necessarily helping the organization. So I think it is more to do with the nature of where things are at. But the important point I was trying to make was that's not where it should stop. It should be a starting point, if you like, or a foundation, a stepping stone to helping the organization, and not just the individual leader. Because if a director or a CEO or a CFO is well trained on AI and knows what tools to use, great. But does that help the organization? Not really. And that's ultimately what it's all about, right? Everybody's in this rush to find out what course I can do, what tool's best to use for this, which is the latest large language model. That's great, and it's good, and it's a starting point. But you don't get value from it for your organization until you realize the tangible value. And that, to me, is at the organization level and not the individual level. Yeah. So I think it's more of a nature of where we are. But leaders need to figure out very quickly that is just the starting point, and you knowing which tools to use and which tools might help you do something like build a board report, for example. It might improve your efficiency, but is it helping your organization really? No.
Okay, so considering our current client base and the people that we're currently working with, has there been a surprising moment with any of them with regards to the way in which we're helping them roadmap?
Yes, I'll definitely say there is. And the nature of how nascent this is, I think we would well expect there to be surprises. I think there's been some interesting surprises on our side, quite frankly, and I think there's been some interesting surprises on the customer side. A couple of examples. I mean, I'll deal with one that we were quite surprised with when we started this process, probably, and started doing quite a few of these AI roadmaps probably 6 months ago. Is what we were surprised about is, and essentially what the roadmap does is we go into a business and we map out an AI roadmap for them. So we listen to the business context, we listen to their business challenges, and we identify all the things they should be doing in AI to lower those challenges or remove any of those problems. So it's a roadmap, and importantly, because it's the number one question we get asked by businesses is, where do we start? We don't know all the things we can do in AI, and we don't know where to start. Because as a CEO or a CFO, they could be getting hit by multiple departments within the business, because the CMO wants to start with this thing, and the CFO wants to start with this thing, and the CTO and the CIO, and it goes on and on and on, especially for well-established businesses. So the surprising thing, so essentially what we do is we map that out for them and tell them where to start. And we've got a very well thought out model of ROI. So we give them some tangible numbers, which is importantly what it's all about. The surprising thing for us was that what we found with a lot of businesses is whilst there might be 4, 5, 6 use cases that they could do that will address all the challenges, in some cases there is this overarching theme of a strategic theme, if you like, of what they should do as a starting point that sits above all the AI use cases. And that's quite a big, we call them umbrella themes. And I'll give you a couple of examples. One might be, we've had a few use cases where businesses are struggling to find information. That might be on their internal SharePoint, Google Drive, and anything. Well-established businesses with
buried in the Google Drive,
hundreds, if not thousands, of policies and procedures. People can't find them. Customer service teams trying to find them, making a customer service call go for 10 minutes instead of what it should be, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So it's not necessarily. There are definitely use cases that AI can help you with that, but we would call that, information retrieval, an overarching theme that needs to be done before the business can actually, sometimes at the same time, address individual AI use cases. So I'd say it's more common than not that businesses have these overarching themes, umbrella themes we call them, that sit above all the above the AI individual use cases. They can be done concurrently. The work can be done concurrently. But when you think about commonalities, common challenges with businesses, information retrieval, I can't find information. My tech stack is legacy based. There's data all over the place. It's not in a good state. It's not clean. That needs to be done at the same time as any AI use cases can be done. That comes out in an AI roadmap, and we call those big strategic moves umbrella themes that need to be done at the same time. So that was quite surprising for us individually, that the number of times that would come out of. It's not just always about, let's put an intelligent sales agent on the website. That will fix all of our customer service problems. That's not true, because you've also got a big strategic problem about finding information and things like that, because it's all over the place. That needs to be done concurrently. So that was a surprising thing for us of how often that comes up. But you spot those as you go through the system, as you go through the business context, as you go through the challenges. I'd say on the customer side, what they're really surprised about, and this is almost universal, I will say, is that when we do this, because we go through quite a detailed, well thought out, we have a model, an ROI calculation basically of looking at what they're spending on people costs, what they're spending on current system costs, where the challenges are, where the repetition is, where the duplication is. We come up with numbers to say, this would, if you address these things with AI, the potential return on investment is Y. So there's actually a logic and there's a model behind that. What we found is when you do that, it more often than not places AI use cases. The ROI model puts AI use cases ahead of what the business itself thought was going to be the most important thing. So I'll give you a specific example of a service-based client we've done an AI roadmap for. Offers services out in the field. There's people in that business out in the field doing things, basically. A lot of manual work, a lot of repetition. They instinctively thought that their customer service team would have the biggest need for artificial intelligence because there's some duplication on that there. But when we got into the nuts of it and we spoke to the team and we found out all the information, the systems that the people were using, we found actually it wasn't customer service. It was, call them agents in the field, technicians in the field doing things for that business. The ROI use case basically bumped that to the top by quite a large way. So we find that when you put the logic and the numbers and the modeling behind it, the surprising thing for customers is that what they thought was the most important thing for their business, the most valuable thing for their business, and the thing that they might get the most ROI from AI in their business is not actually what the reality is. So we've got a well thought out model of looking at knowledge-based tasks, the things in a business that can be done by AI, information processing, decision-making, knowledge-based tasks. And then we look at an AI efficiency factor. So if those things were replaced by AI, what's the cost differential of it being done by AI versus a team of people? So we put those things together in a mathematical model, and out you get is a ranked list, if you like. And the surprising thing for most customers is it's almost universal, is that what they thought would be the biggest return is not actually the biggest return. Now, it's ultimately up to them whether they want to do that one thing first, but really to be black and white with the numbers and black and white with the ROI is quite, it's a very surprising thing for most customers. So putting those two things together gives you an actual number of, what the return was if you were to implement AI and do these things with AI, what the saving would be for the business. And that's ultimately what it's all about. It's all about value.
Yeah,
it's not about the theory. It's not about the AI course. It's about the tangible value that if you were to do this task or tasks with AI, where's the value for the business? Is it in productivity or is it in cost efficiency? And the reality is it's probably both. So that was a long answer, but surprising for us of these umbrella themes. And I think surprising for the customers when you do the ROI, what they thought was top of the list is actually not top of the list.
Yeah,
that's very, very common. Yeah. And the modeling that we've done is quite robust. It's nascent in itself. There's not much out there doing this, right? So they think quite subjectively. We have some subjectivity as well, but we also put objective numbers behind it to help them say, well, yeah, we know you thought it was this, but actually, when you look at it, it's actually this. Is that where you want to start? And we make a recommendation.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's up to the business, but the numbers can be quite compelling.
For anyone listening to this, anyone watching this, certainly a CEO sat there thinking, well, I've done a course. I've sent my employees to do a course. What's your advice to them now?
The question I would ask them to do, I had lunch with the CEO yesterday and asked him the very same question because he had done a recent course, a well thought out course and a valuable course. And I'm certainly not anti-education. I think it's a very good stepping stone, very good starting point. But the question I asked him was, how is that course, and he had done the course himself, how is that course going to help your organization? And the answer was he hadn't thought about it. The answer was, I don't think it will. I think it'll help me do a few things and add some efficiency to me. And I said, great starting point. But you should be asking yourself or your team, how is this course going to help the organization or my organization, right? And that's ultimately what it's all about. A course will give you some good pointers, a good place to start, help you understand the different tools, of which there are loads. But ask yourself the question, how is that course? How is this accreditation? Whatever that looks like. How is this YouTube video? Because lots of really good ones of those as well. How is this going to help the organization? And that's what it's all about. It's not about the individual. It's about the organization. It's not about this vertical individual. It's about this horizontal organization. So that's the ultimate question. How is it going to help your organization?
Yeah, and it comes back to what you were saying in your article. Like it's got to move beyond curiosity and a self-driven need. It has to now become holistic.
Yeah, it starts with curiosity, of course, absolutely. And we're at the pointy end of it more than most, and we are still very curious. You have to be, but that's just the starting point. That's the jump to capability. So the ultimate question is, ask yourself, how is this course going to help my organization? If you can't answer that, then you haven't bridged that gap from curiosity to capability, and that's what you need to do. So yeah, and that's what an AI roadmap ultimately is all about. It's the plans, the blueprints, the numbers to go, this is how you get your organization AI ready. And the feedback we've got from customers who've done this, I mean, we've done more than 20 of these now. Big pieces of work is incredible amounts of value. We've had customers that have initially said, no, we only actually want to add some AI into customer service, but we've explained an AI roadmap to them and they've gone, we've explained that, well, if we just did that, you'd just be doing one part of your business. Why would you want to just do one part of your business? An AI roadmap will map this whole value add for you across your whole organization. Is that something you think you get value for? What leader, what CEO would say no to that? It's just crazy. I don't understand why any business wouldn't do it, quite frankly. But that's just me.
Well, it's a fantastic article. Thank you for writing it. Thank you for joining me on the podcast just to explain, and to anyone that was perhaps had some nagging questions. But thank you for your time, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks.
I'll leave you a nice crisp high five.
Thank you.